to Gunners.
Thank you, Maggie.
We were just having a conversation about what could potentially be our favorite Magnum rounds.
Yes, because this is, I saw this right when I walked in. I was like, oh, now I like a Desert Eagle. I've never owned one before. But I've always wanted one in this particular caliber, which is, and they're the rarest. So, yeah, what do you think the best caliber is?
Like I said, I am very, very biased. I have a preference for in Handgun's 357 Magnum, which is totally fine with anyone that disagrees. Totally awesome if you do agree as well. But I think I'm biased because I really haven't shot everything that exists, and I haven't played with firearms of every caliber on the planet.
Because you have one of these in 357 Magnum. Because I fired that. Yeah, I did a gun review. I'll put the link here. That was great.
Oh, it's my sweet, sweet baby.
Now, because they make this also, I would say probably the most popular would be the 44 Magnum and 357 Magnum. Not necessarily in the Desert Eagle, but as far as just Magnum rounds go.
50 Action Express. That is the #1 seller on Magnum Research's Desert Eagle. That is the one that everybody asks for. And I think as we were talking about it while we were setting up the shop, isn't that the RoboCop gun?
That's what Brian said. I almost have to go back and watch it again.
I would trust his judgment
I would
on that.
trust his judgment on that too.
I would trust his judgment on that.
Because I had not seen RoboCop since I think it was in movie theaters.
I'm sure I probably saw it at the drive-in and fell asleep at some point during that movie. So.
Well, I say, I've owned a few 357 Magnum revolvers, and I've owned 2 44 Magnum revolvers. And I just find that the 44 Magnum is not as pleasant to shoot as a 357 Magnum. It's a big old bullet too. When you buy a box of 44 Magnums and you're like, that is a big old bullet.
It is.
And it's so expensive in addition to that, as well as kind of hard to find lately still to some degree.
Yes, it is in limited supply. So when we do get our hands on some of it, we try to get as many brands and as much variety for the customers as we obviously can at a price that isn't astronomical.
I think that's why, another reason why I like the 357 Magnum, because it's plenty of power. There's no way you could say the 357 Magnum. You need more than that. It could handle, I think, any large animal in North America for sure.
I definitely would not want to be on the business end of the barrel. I want to be behind the gun with the finger on the trigger, pretty please.
But my appeal to it is not just that I like to shoot it more, but it's that it's easier to get a hold of. It's more affordable. There's more guns that shoot it. Because I don't own any 44 Magnum revolvers now.
I've sold them
all. But I only have the 2, and I owned them at different times. Like I owned one a long time ago before I even had kids. And then as soon as I had kids, I started selling my guns for some reason and narrowed it down to just one. I wish I didn't do that. I did. But,
Can I ask you kind of a personal question?
Sure.
What made you choose 44 Magnum?
It was a Ruger Blackhawk in 44 Magnum, and I just love that. If I was going to buy a Ruger Blackhawk at the time, in my head, I was like, well, it's got to be a 44 Magnum. For whatever reason, it just was in my head.
I kind of wonder.
And then the next 44 Magnum was a Ruger Blackhawk too.
I have to ask because there is a rather famous actor, Clint Eastwood, that movie Dirty Harry, and he quite popularized that 44 Magnum.
Sure.
Did that have any bearing on your decision? Like, I could have a 41 Magnum, or I could have the 44 Dirty Harry style. Oh, yeah.
I think it was, because I knew he did shoot a 44 Magnum. Wasn't that a Model 29 or something like that? Because doesn't he say it's does he have a line?
He does. He's like, this is a 44. I do not know the exact line. Google will have to
I think
look
it's
up
in
the line.
in the diner. I think the diner.
We might have to.
When he no, I know what it is. It's when he finally goes up to that last guy and he tells him what it is, and then I think he says something to the effect of, you know, you're probably thinking to yourself, did he shoot 6 or was it 5? Kind of thing. So you found it here. All right, go for it. You gotta do the dirty Harry. You want me to do the dirty Harry line, or
please?
Okay. You don't want to hear. I bet if we put it in the put below, who would you rather hear tell dirty Harry lines, Mark or Maggie? I guarantee it's Maggie.
I'll be
put in the comments below. But I guess you get me today. Next time you got to do the dirty Harry line.
All right.
Okay, so it says, I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I kind of lost track myself of being this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world. Now blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
That's the line.
That is the line. The 41 Magnum, I'd never heard of that round. The first time I'd heard of it was my dad, or my stepdad had a 41 Magnum revolver. And I never shot that gun, but I remember after him and my mom moved out of the house and they'd left town, I was cleaning out the basement. I came across a box of 41 Magnums. I thought, I never even heard of a 41 Magnum.
I will tell you, after having shot both a 44 Magnum and a 41 Magnum, 44 Magnums are a lot of oomph, a lot of recoil to control, and so much fun to shoot, especially if you like to watch flaming fireballs come out the end of the barrel. 41 Magnum is a delight, is an absolute blissful, darling child of a round after you have shot the 44 Magnum. But the 41 Magnum did come out first. That one is actually pleasant to shoot, and just like with, it seems like Magnum rounds do have kind of a lower pressure special round. 41 has a 41 Magnum and a 41 special, and the 44 as well. So the high pressure 44 Magnum round and a slightly lower pressure 44 special.
I watched a video somebody else did, and they were talking about the 44 Magnum and how they really like shooting 44 special out of it. And that was the first I'd heard of that as well. I love that idea, like, because it's the same. Like, it's great to practice with the 38 special,
right?
You know, I love practicing with it. I wouldn't carry that way, but it's great to practice that way.
It definitely is, but it just makes it a lot more fun, less punishment on your body at the range, and that really is what it is, you know.
Well, and I guess that's kind of why I go back to I like the 357 better. You know, again, for me, it's really more about I have other revolvers that shoot. You know, it's more of a practical round. But if you're gonna shoot 357 Magnum and you're wanting to just spend an hour or two at the range, that's not necessarily a lot of fun. Unless you can throw in some 38 specials into the equation. Now, if you're trying to practice with your 44 Magnum and you spend a couple hours at the range, I could be wrong, but my guess is after about 30 or 40 rounds, you're like, I kind of need a break from this.
By the time you're at the end of the box of 50 rounds, you're probably like, okay, that was good, but you may have put it through multiple firearms. There are and were
depends on the firearms too.
Options to choose from. They did make rifles chambered in 44 Magnum as well, lever actions.
Well, I think that I don't know. It's obviously a personal preference. You know, if I lived in Alaska and I had to go to the outback quite a bit, I'm sure I would carry a 44 Magnum around. Hanging out around town, probably not so much. But I don't know. Everybody's got their thing.
Yeah.
I guarantee there's people watching this that love 44 Magnum, and they could shoot 1,000 rounds through it all day long. And,
true story.
You know, I guarantee there's that. It's just all just personal
and
thoughts and preferences.
There's probably a good chance that not everybody there that is espousing their love for the 44 Magnum is even guys. There are girls out there that are just as in love.
Sure. I guess in the end, it really is kind of a personal preference. When I saw this today when we were talking, I just thought, oh, there's a 357, the one I've been looking for. I can't afford it, but there it is. And I just kind of thought, well, what is it? You know, because I see the 44 Magnums and the 50 A&Es all the time, but I'm not necessarily interested in it. But I am interested in the 357 Magnum one. But I think for me, it's really just the number of guns, the cost, more pleasant to shoot.
Yeah.
But again, I know that's just personal preference. Anybody put in the comments below the rounds you like best, especially the bigger Magnum rounds. You know,
and we didn't even get started on rifle rounds and Magnum cartridges, and there are a lot to pick from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sincerely, a lot.
Well, Maggie, gosh, thanks for bringing this up. This is great. Love this round.
I know.
Really one of my favorites.
Fantastic
love to see
baby.
more guns come out, so put it out there. Well, Maggie, gosh, thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Have a great rest of your day.
I will. You do the same. And to everybody watching, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.